Obama has took to the campaign trail in support of Kamala Harris, and we have a blistering speech that he gave in Pennsylvania, slamming Donald Trump and Republicans, and what I thought could spark some insightful conversation about what Trump actually gets to take credit for during his last presidency and his lack of a true plan for his next presidency. So let's line these up one by one, and as always, knock them down with the context.
And the reason some people think, wow, I don't know, I remember that economy when he first came in being pretty good. Yeah, it was pretty good, because it was my economy. We had 75 straight months of job growth that I handed over to him. It wasn't something he did. I had spent 8 years cleaning up the mess that the Republicans had left me the last time. So just in case everybody has a hazy memory, he didn't do nothing.
And this is literally so true. So many people, especially on the right, try to give Trump credit for riding Obama's coattails, even though he underperformed him in almost every important metric and did little to offer anything to actually create this booming economy. For instance, Obama dropped unemployment over 6%, dropped black unemployment even more, to where Trump took office with the lowest unemployment starting point for a president in the last 50 or 60 years. Unemployment had been dropping for 7 consecutive years, and he only dropped unemployment 1.2% during his entire presidency, but only 0.6% after his tax cuts, which was his only legislation. Trump never once outperformed Obama in job creation, even after the tax cuts that were supposed to create all these jobs. They didn't create all these jobs. Instead, it just lowered business investments, to where then the growth of hourly earnings for the middle class under Trump slowed compared to what it was under Obama, as well as average annual earnings slowed under Trump and compared to what it was in Obama by an entire percentage point. So Trump, again, I want to reiterate, inherited a booming economy and slowed that boom down. A majority of Trump's economic growth was concentrated to the top 1%. The bottom 80% actually saw their income shrink under Donald Trump. Obama also had lower year-over-year inflation, so Trump inherited low inflation and slightly saw it rise. He didn't create low inflation. He actually made it worse from what he inherited, and that's why when you ask MAGA, well, what did Trump do for the economy? Like, what legislation did he pass? They either absolutely can't answer it because there is no legislation that really answers that question, or they're like, but the tax cuts, he did tax cuts that are really important, when the tax cuts, however, disproportionately affected the wealthy, added massively to our debt and deficit, saw less business investment after. Business investment is the things that actually trickle down, not tax cuts. Tax cuts have been shown time after time again to just lead to higher executive pay and more stock buybacks, things that don't help workers. Also, it didn't create a GDP spike as promised. Remember, Trump promised 5 to 6% GDP growth. Did not happen. So if you ask them to name legislation specifically that benefited the middle and lower classes more than the wealthy, they absolutely can't name a thing because it doesn't exist. It's more just these people doing correlation without causation, which is really dumb, to be frank, right? It's like saying, well, I found $1 million when it was raining outside, so the rain must have made me rich. It's the important part here is causation, right? Trump took office when the economy was booming, and by all metrics, he just slowed down that boom. So why does he get causation? What did he do to cause it?
If that's the answer to everything, well, why didn't you solve the problem? Why were the number of immigrants basically the same when you left office as when you took office? I'll tell you why. Because he didn't have a real plan. He had talking points. He had concepts of a plan. And the plan was mean and ugly. And it was designed to enhance his politics and make people angry, not to solve the problem. You know what would actually help bring order to the border and fix our immigration system? The bipartisan deal that Kamala Harris supported, even though it was written by one of the most conservative Republicans in Congress, the same bill that Donald Trump tanked on purpose.
Also, complete facts. I mean, whoever this Obama guy is, he's pretty good at this, you know? The truth is, immigrant crossings increased every single year under Trump, doubling to a massive spike in 2019 before COVID saved Trump from the optics of that, and then spiked again in 2020, leading into 2021 before Biden took office. If Trump had the most secure border, why did this happen? Why did migrant crossings increase every single year and spike in 2019 and again in 2020? If he was in office for 4 years with congressional majority for 2 of those years, why didn't he fix the problem? And if he didn't fix the problem, why would we trust him to do it this time when he's not going to have congressional majorities? Why does he have a lower rate of deportation than Biden? It's because he didn't have a real plan. The only thing Trump managed to do on the border was only allowed because of COVID. It's not something he can even do outside of a pandemic, and he did nothing else. So what is he going to do? I would love to have anyone tell me this, because they'll be like, well, he wanted to build the wall. And then you'll be like, why didn't he build the wall? Well, Democrats didn't let him. Well, he had congressional majorities. Well, he didn't have enough seats. Well, he's going to have even less seats this time. So what is going to change, right? We saw massive influxes of migrants every single year under Trump. He did not do anything on the border, but he sold the gullible cult into thinking that he was pretty good on this issue when he absolutely wasn't.
Even if you had a family member who acted like that, you might still love him, but you'd tell him you got a problem. And you wouldn't put him in charge of anything. And yet, when Donald Trump lies or cheats or shows utter disregard for our Constitution, when he calls POWs losers or fellow citizens vermin, people make excuses for it. They think it's okay. They think, well, at least he's owning the libs. He's really sticking it to them.
Guys, he did it. He said the me thing. That's my line. But he's also exactly right. You know, he's taken from the best. What can I say? You wouldn't do business with someone that treated people like Donald Trump. That would be a major red flag. If you cared about your family members, you would check them if they acted and talked to people like Donald Trump did. But Trump has perfectly cultivated this tribalistic sense in politics that allows MAGA to cheer him on because they think that he's owning the libs. The only thing Obama didn't do right was the voice. You have to own the libs, you know? For them, however, MAGA that is, it's not about America. It's not about what's best for the country. That's why they can't talk policies. That's why they can't talk metrics. That's why they can't talk anything but culture war issues. For them, it's not about who would be a good model or representative to what America is supposed to stand for. It's just about what makes my side win and makes the other side angry. The division that is created by Republicans, by specifically MAGA and Trump, is insane.
Or you could try it at home. Honey, did you do the dishes? I have a concept of a plan to do the dishes. How's that gonna go over? If it wouldn't work for you, why in the heck should it work for the President of the United States? But the good news is, Kamala Harris, she doesn't have concepts for a plan. She has an actual plan to make your life better.
I mean, this is like a hilariously good point. I would love for MAGA to try this with their wives for the extent that any of them have talked to a woman. I'm sure most of them haven't, but it would make for a good time for those who have. At the end of the day, it just shows how Trump is unreliable and unable to take accountability, unable to take responsibility, unable to step up to the plate for those who need him. And it shows what he's running for, right? Like clear as day. It's not to make people's lives better. He doesn't even have a plan to do so. Just concepts, right? Even though I would doubt he even has concepts. He's running for revenge. He's running to stay out of prison. He's running for himself and his own self-interest. And for most of the country, that's not something we're going to stand for, guy. If you enjoyed this video, we're Social Society. We're a commentary channel influenced by politics, society, and the economy. We are pretty left-leaning on this channel, but we're open to our right-wingers as well. The biggest thing here is having conversations that get everyone to the bottom of the truth. If that sounds like something that could interest you, consider smashing that subscribe button, leaving us a like, or even commenting on this video. We even have memberships available as low as $3 if you'd like to support, because the only way we become a society is together.